Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Wickham Missoula. I'm your host, Scott Ramp. We have a lot of guests on today. We got Travis Welsh, and we got Dax Fraser from the Missoula Police Department and the Missoula Fire Department to talk about fireworks this upcoming 4th of July. We also got Travis Meter from Missoula Aging Services to talk about their help hotline, 541-HELP, for the Missoula Aging Services to help elderly people with any questions or any concerns they have just in general. So we'll have those guys on later on the show. We got some weather, we got some news items. We also got dubbing stuff, a special video for you guys, and we also have a couple MCAT announcements along the way, because this week we're doing Raptors of the Rocky, and I'll have a little bit more on that later on in the show. So let's talk about a little thing called the weather. It is currently 58 degrees outside. Your high is going to be 77. Your low is going to be 52. Thursday, you can expect your highs to be in the 76 degree range. You have your lows of 51 degrees. Friday, you have your highs of 83 degrees. It's going to be mostly sunny. And then throughout the weekend, you still have that 20% chance of thunderstorms, but your high is going to be hotter. So expect a cool down for today and for Thursday. But you can expect those warmer temperatures to start coming back throughout the weekend. And probably by Monday, we'll have some warm temperatures into the 90s. Because why not? Moving on, we got some news items I want to talk about. So the University of Montana's they're working on the Board of Regents at the state level is working on a new deal to kind of figure out how they're going to be paying the new president of the university. They're looking for candidates as well, but they're also looking for non-traditional candidates. So most of the times the candidates are 60 plus, 55, 60 years plus or older, have a doctorate of some sort. But in this case, they're trying to look for a new person to kind of think outside the box, but also at the same time, they're thinking about lowering the salary for the presidents. Many presidents of public universities get those perks along with significant salaries such as $316,819 base pay for the leader of the flagships in Montana, according to survey in the 2015-2016 comprehension released this week by the Chronicle of Higher Education. Higher education officials have long said that Montana isn't competitive when it comes to salaries for presidents, and the Chronicle surveys puts the pay at Montana's flagship at 73% of the median. The average salary is $500,000, just about, and it's up 5.3% from the previous fiscal year, according to the Chronicle. The Montana Board of Regents and officials in the Commission's office have been paying close attention to the outcomes such as graduation rates and retention at their campuses, and a small portion of funding for schools is tied to its performance. In the state news, you guys want solar power in your lives? Well, it looks like any obligations any group had would be cut short. Most of the programs, the PSC officially cut contracts length from 25 years to 5 years with an option to negotiate for rates for 5 more years. So back in the day when there was the injury crisis in 1970s, based on what I read in the Billings Gazette, is that they had an energy crisis back in the 1970s with it was like, oh god, nuclear power is not that safe. We got to think about other ways of having power and stuff like that. Oh, we should try solar. It's like, well, solar's not good enough. Well, now solar is, but a lot of things with what's going on now is that in terms of solar power, most of these contracts are being like short amount of years. So a lot of times what they would put into making a lot of these solar farms to collect amount of energy to power homes may not be enough to prove that this may be worth it in the short run compared to what it would be in the long-term run. So that's kind of like some of the things that are having issues with. So there was a meeting between the two, and there was a mic that was accidentally recorded conversation between Lake and the PSC rate analysis, Neil Templeton, who pointed out the new terms are unworkable for qualifying facilities, also known as QFs. The rates are too low, Templeton said, and the contract lengths a minimum 5 years, possible turning to 10 if the new rates can be set midterm but are too short. The Commission was concerned about locking Northwestern into rates for the QF power, but that the contracts end. It might prove to be higher than market price. Northwestern passes those prices on the customer. The PSC indicated it didn't want customers to pay above market prices for energy, something consumers already do as Northwestern passes down much of its purchase price for hydroelectric dams along the Columbia and Missouri River drainages. In national news, for persons up in their 50s or older under the Affordable Care Act, insurance companies are allowed to charge older people up to 3 times more than younger people for the same insurance policies. The Republican health care policy, otherwise known as Better Health Care, can now do 5 times more for people who are 50 years or older for the same insurance that younger people would pay. That change would likely lead to cheaper health plans for younger people, but also more expensive ones for those over 50. The overall reductions to the Medicaid program, the bill turns Medicaid from an open-ended program that pays for all the care benefits needed to one that caps federal spending based on the number of people enrolled. So basically, it feels like Medicaid is like first come, first serve. The Senate bill does not include the very popular provision of the Affordable Care Act that allows children to stay on their parents' health care insurance policy until they are 26. So that's one of the things that the Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act has that the GOP bill repeal and replace is doing to update it. So, however, there's a chance that lifetime spending limits and annual limits would pay for the care given patients could return. Before the Affordable Care Act, about 60% of employees had lifetime limits on their health plans. The section of the bill that allows states to get waivers from the federal rules open the doors for those limits making a comeback even in employer-sponsored policies. So that I got from NPR.org. This is a big Q&A about a lot of questions, and it's kind of, hopefully this helps clarify things up, but also it most likely will complicate things more into the future. And we'll see how things turn out. That's all I can say. That's all anyone can really just say about that. I have an art clip for you guys, and I believe this is the last week I'll be able to play this particular art clip from the this is Donna Flannery window gazing at the Clay Studio, and it'll end by the end of this week. But I have some guests on waiting in the wings, so when we come back, we'll have them on shortly after this. Hey guys, we were back here with Travis and Dax, and you guys are here to talk about 4th of July and overall fireworks within the city limits, but also what's happening with some of the things that you want to highlight in terms of what people can and cannot do for this 4th of July season. Okay. So what can you tell us about what you're trying to educate people on this year?
Well, from the perspective of the police department, we always want people to enjoy themselves, but we want them to do it safely and legally. People need to know that fireworks in the city of Missoula are illegal by city ordinance, with few exceptions, and those exceptions can be found at the city's website. Most of all, we're concerned about personal injury. We're concerned about property damage. We're concerned about those folks in our community that don't appreciate fireworks and expect us to hold up the law.
So one of the things is that there's a couple of places that are shooting off fireworks this season within their city limits, but they got permits. So a lot of people would be like, well, if they get to do it, why can't we do it? Could you guys kind of elaborate a little bit on that?
Well, I think part of that is they're professionals, and in a way it's kind of it's an agreement. People want to enjoy fireworks, and with the mall providing them and the Osprey Stadium, that's a pretty good medium for us, I think. And people know when it's going to happen, it's planned out, and it's much safer.
Yep. And Travis, you and people at the Missoula Police Department usually hand out fines for people who do comply with the city's ordinance that's been around for a while now, and they updated just a couple of years ago to help reflect a couple other things. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, we will be out utilizing the resources from the department to enforce the ordinance. Officers will still be responsible for calls for service. However, the city has established a report line for people who do wish to report illegal fireworks activity, and the police department will be responding to those complaints as opportunities arise, and they are free to do so.
Yep, and that hotline is for anybody who wants to know about tips that you can give to the police department. It's 258-4850. Again, that's 258-4850, and I'll repeat that later in the show as well. So, what can you tell me about some of the things that's happened in the past, and how Missoula's kind of adapting to like changes, and how you guys are working to help keep Missoula safe?
Well, I think that it's always been illegal to light off fireworks in the city, and I think you can do it in the county. But one of the things is that being in the city, everybody lives so close to each other, the homes are close to each other, and it's just kind of a respectful thing to not be causing concern to neighbors who don't want the fireworks.
And one of the things that you were talking about is that there is a potential risk for arson, and if you accidentally light off a firework and wind catches at a certain speed and it lands in your neighbor's tree or something, and it catches fire, and then their house catches on fire, and
that wouldn't be arson. It would be accidental, but even being accidental, you're still responsible for your actions. It's assumed that that an adult should know what they're doing, and adults are responsible for what their children do too.
Right. And you were also saying that there are some issues with people lighting off fireworks in the Fort Missoula, because that used to be kind of like the place where a lot of people would light off fireworks.
Yeah, with this new parks facility out there, it's the city's now, so it's technically you can't light off fireworks out there at the fort.
Cool. Well, is there anything else you kind of want to talk about? I think we didn't actually talk about the fines and what people can get if they do not comply.
Cool.
A first offense is a fine, includes a fine of up to $100, and then it progresses from there. You know, a big component of what we're doing every year now is education, and trying to make people aware of the potential dangers, the risks that Dax referred to, and letting people know that there are consequences. But as I said earlier, we want people to have a fun 4th of July. We want them to enjoy themselves, enjoy their families. We just want them to do it safely and respectfully.
Yep, and speaking of safety, you were also talking about sparklers. Could it be a potential risk for younger kids?
Anything and Dax can talk about this better than I, but anything that relates to fire is potentially dangerous. However, there are exceptions to the ordinance, and as I said, those exceptions can be found on the city's website.
Yeah, 28% of fire injuries are caused by sparklers themselves, and it's probably a lot of it, like I told you earlier, is probably due to the age of who's using them. But yeah, they can be a big problem, so they should be used with adult supervision. One of the things I'd like to mention is that the big show on the 4th of July this year is going to be at the county fairgrounds. So some of the best viewing areas will be the field areas around the Mount Sentinel fields and the Sentinel High School and stuff. So it'll be a little different this year.
Yep.
But
Yeah, so is there anything else you guys want to say? It's pretty clear that the city of Missoula has just no fireworks, but if you're also in the county, just to be a little careful, because when you're in the county, there's a lot of grass and a lot of grasslands and stuff like that, because you're never entirely safe when you're lighting off fireworks, because there's the fire component.
that's very true.
All right, so is there anything else you guys want to say before we go?
Be safe.
Yeah.
Be safe.
All right. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for joining us. Once again, the number is 258-4850. If you for the fireworks hotline, if you want to get in contact with a police officer and say, hey, somebody's firing off fireworks, I just want to report it and stuff like that. But also be aware that when you're firing off fireworks, be aware that it also can affect veterans with PTSD. So just be aware of that. So when we come back, we'll have Missoula Aging Services on here to talk about their helpline. So stay with us. We'll be right back after this. Hey guys, we're here with Travis Mateer, and he is here to talk about the Missoula Aging Services Helpline, which is 541-HELP. So what can you tell folks at home, what is the helpline for?
Yeah, so I'm really happy to be here today. I'm a call center specialist in the new call center at Missoula Aging Services, so it's an expansion of our resource center. The helpline is a part of that. It's 541-4357, which is HELP. So essentially what we do is we do information referral services. So people call in with a question or a problem, and we do our best to assess what that issue is. And if we can't answer the question, we can do some research and get back to a client, or we can refer them to the agency that's going to best meet their needs.
Great. And what are some of the calls you've gotten so far?
We get all kinds of calls. A lot of the calls kind of surround the complicated systems of Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security. These are not easy systems to understand. There's usually a lot of questions when someone is nearing the age of 65 and looking at getting on Medicare. They're getting a lot of stuff sent to them in mail, a lot of phone calls. We provide objective information about their options, and we can do a lot to help them understand what's going to be a best fit for them. So one of the things that we do is we have a new to Medicare workshop that we offer, and we can help people register for that. We offer it once a month. And for people that are new to Medicare, that are about to turn 65 and want to understand what their options are, it's a really great class for them to take.
Right, and if you want more information for the class, you go to the Missoula Aging Services website at missoulaagingservices.org, and they tell you all upcoming events and more on that.
We have a lot of information on our website, and you can always give us a call. Before we had the helpline, our resource specialists would take turns taking calls in addition to meeting one-on-one with clients. And so it wasn't always easy for us to get back to someone quickly if they were calling and leaving a message. So that's another thing to really emphasize with our new helpline, is we have paid staff around the clock during business hours that are able to more quickly respond to people's concerns. So it allows us to provide much better customer service for our clients.
Cool. And when people call, what are some of their bigger concerns?
So some of the bigger concerns would be caregivers that are taking care of an aging family member. That tends to be one of the more challenging issues because people call in. Usually by the time when they're calling in, they've gotten to a point where they really need some help. And so we do our best to help them identify what resources would best fit their need. We have support groups that people can attend, and we can also help people save money. That's a big one. Saving money tends to be a really positive thing. So if we can find ways to help them save money with their Medicare costs or their Medicaid costs, or see if they qualify for a property tax rebate, for example, those are some of the things we can do to help people kind of offset the cost of providing in-home care, which tends to be very costly and can put a big strain on families that are trying to keep their family members in a home instead of going into a nursing home.
Right. I guess there's not really much more to ask about this. I guess what are some of the things that you want to tell people at home that I haven't really thought to ask you?
Well, one of the things I wanted to emphasize is there is no such thing as a stupid question. I would encourage anyone with any questions or concerns to give us a call at 541-4357. You will either get myself or one of my colleagues. We have 2 to 4 people staffed in the call center at any given time during business hours. And I would really just encourage people to call. Even if it's something where maybe they think it's not really within our purview. We work a lot with aging adults, with people with disabilities, but really we can talk to anyone, and we'll do research even if we don't have the answers for it.
And it sounds like this this help hotline also provides answers to questions, and not necessarily finding ways to, like, some people call in and be like, I have a question, but I don't know what the question is.
Yeah.
So you guys help them come up with the question that they can.
We get that sometimes where someone is so, they're struggling to even understand what that question might be. A lot of times people are overwhelmed with maybe the information that's out there, not sure where to turn, and so even if they don't have that question defined, they can give us a call and we can ask questions to help understand what the issue is.
Yeah. So the help hotline, the number is 541-HELP, otherwise known as 541-4357.
And then just to give a quick kind of, you're not going to necessarily see me, but this is exciting for me because I get to wear a headset. This is the first job I've been able to have a headset on. So when you call, I'm sitting there waiting for this call. And when the call comes in, I press this button and then I'm going. I'm listening, I'm asking questions, I'm doing my best to assess what the issue is. And so I would encourage anyone to call 541-4357 so that we can see how we can best help them.
Cool. And I think it's a wonderful service that you guys are doing, and it helps help you at home narrow the gap in terms of information. Yep. Because we live in an age where information is everywhere.
Yeah.
You have too much information, and you look up something, and then you get a whole nother thing. You're just like, I want to know why my back hurts.
Yeah.
And it's like 5 reasons why your back hurts. It's like, and it doesn't help you at all.
And a lot of the challenge is just getting a human being on the phone. I mean, that's one thing I've heard some good feedback, is that I am a human being. I'm here. You can see that. And calling the 541-4357 helpline is a great way to directly talk to a person. It's not an automated phone system that's going to send you a bunch of different places and have you hit a bunch of numbers to try and get a person on the phone to actually talk to. It comes straight to our resource center, where we'll immediately start assessing the situation and referring people to the services that are going to best fit that need. So it's a great service that we provide, and I'm really excited to be able to be here and to give people information about how to make use of that service.
Well, thanks for joining me.
Thank you very much.
This is Travis Mateer, and he is the guy you would be talking to if you call 541-HELP, but there's also many other people available at Missoula's Aging Services that are there to help you.
We have a lot of talented people, so give us a call.
All right, thanks for joining me, and
Thank
we'll
you.
be right back right after this. Hey guys, welcome back. And that art clip, I wanted to show you it twice because I got a little too into the interview that I just showed you guys. I have a bunch of new programs that are going to be airing on MCAT, and I'm excited for them. There's a lot of great stuff. Most of them is historic reflection in Missoula, so you guys get a chance to see it. But we'll start it off with a little bit of nice little dancing. But when we come back, I'll have all your MCAT news coming up right after this.
We talk about fort history. And then one of the areas that I find really fascinating is the story of the 2,200 men who were held here during World War II as part of our alien detention center camp. They were both Italians and Japanese. They were resident aliens here in this country when the war broke out, and they were scooped up and basically imprisoned for the course of several years. It's interesting to be able to use these buildings as kind of the tools to talk about these stories and to share those stories with the public. At the Historical Museum, we're super excited about the opening of the Fort Missoula Regional Park. We feel like it's going to be a huge benefit to the Missoula community. It's going to bring more folks here. It's going to increase tourism. And the honest truth is that when there's big tournaments over there, folks are going to find their way over to the Historical Museum. And that helps us to meet our mission of sharing Missoula County's history with those folks.
Stan Cohen told me that the museum owns the school, but they can't move it to Missoula, and nobody's taking care of it, just sitting there kind of rotting away. It's a nice little old school building, still sit out there at Woodworth. And then this, some of the kids from 1935, there's Dick McEwen, and there's Ivor Rose McKenzie, the children of the two main bosses. This is Dick McEwen and his wife Patty. We went down to California and interviewed him. We have a video recording of him, and this is Ivor Rose McKenzie. She lives down here in this Riverside Healthcare. She's 89 years old now. She'll be 90 in August. Still gets around. A little rough getting around, but she gets around. And we have recorded some history from her.
1924 was closed for non-Europeans. Yeah, and then opened back up in 65. Now, you did have Muslims coming through because you had Muslims from the Caucasus that were under Soviet Union, considered Europeans, that were making it through at that time. So Chechens and Dagestanis and others that were part of the Caucasus of the Soviet Union. So that's in 24. And then again, as I said, in 65 is part of the legislation that opened the doors back up again.
Hey guys, welcome back. And those are some of the new programs. Some of them I've already kind of shown, but I showed a different clip from the special. You can watch any of those by logging on to MCAT.org. It's a nice little website. You go to Channel 189 in our video on demand website, and you just go to see entire schedule. It's like right here. Click on it, and you can see all the scheduled things that are happening on MCAT this week. It looks like there's a couple other things on here I couldn't show you the other night because it wasn't on video on demand. You got the Fight Fake News Workshop, and you got World Rhythms Concert, and that's usually put on by the University of Montana, and they have a Island Steel Band, which is just wonderful and just great. But if you want to learn more information about Wake Up Missoula, you can log on to wakeupmissoula.wixsite.com/wakeupmissoula. It's nice. We made you write it out twice. You can see last Friday's episode by going on to videos, and we have plenty of interviews and plenty of other fun stuff along the way, including your Flagship Friday, Dubbin stuff, and all sorts of things. And speaking of Dubbin stuff, we have a brand new Dubbin stuff for you guys for today. I'm just getting it all set up while I'm speaking words through this mouth. But without further ado, here is Dubbin stuff. Legacy of Blood, also known as Will to Die, also known as House on Haunted Hill ripoff, also known as another Creepshow short film that was extended, blah blah blah, yada yada yada. Without further ado, here is a terrible movie that I redubbed.
Where? Oh, they never find me over here.
He's over here. Oh, there he is. Get over here, you.
No.
Now you stay right there. We got you.
Okay, you got me. Ugh. I'm assuming you need some context.
Exposition would be nice.
Exposition like you were chasing me?
Please explain what's going on.
Going on, you say? Of course.
Oh, please, I just wanted an autograph.
Now, why would I give you an autograph? Do you think you're the first person to say, hey, John Hurt, give me an autograph? Maybe we can get a selfie along the way. But no matter how many times people ask, I always say no.
You're a monster.
Am I? Or is it that the monster really is celebrities? The acting life chose me, nobody else, and now I have to deal with some fangirl. Awkward. I'm just trying to make a living the best way I know how. Acting for hundreds of thousands of dollars per gig. I wasn't asked to be paid handsomely at all.
But you're doing your fans a disservice.
A disservice? How dare you say that about me? I'm an actor. I'm not some kind of Kardashian trying to get attention. Hitting the snooze button on her 15 minutes of fame. How can I expect you guys to ever understand?
Suck it up.
Hey, I think I
What?
hear John Hurt. Oh, really? I think he's acting.
Oh,
let's go check it out.
Oh, look out!
Do you see John Hurt?
That's not good. Looks like we won't be getting that autograph anytime soon. Hollywood star map.
Channing Tatum next?
We can hit him after Mel Gibson.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, welcome back. Now let's talk about some events that are going on through here. I'm going to kind of quickly go through all the events for you guys. And then we'll end the show. I'm going to try to keep it short because I got Raptors of the Rocky here going on today. We're going to be leaving. The meetup time is about 10:30, and the show gets over, I guess, whenever I feel like it. But I have to get it over by 10 a.m., so I won't talk too long about it. So Wednesday, you want Montana Tech Tour. It's going to be at various locations. Because it's June and we're in Montana, Missoula is the next stop for the North American Tech Tour, and they're coming down to spend some time with you and a few smart friends in the local tech community. Come say hello and hang out with them for a bit. They're pulling the exact together, and you should RSVP now to be the first to know when they look for things in. All events are free, but given the most venues are small, they'll do a first come first serve. So it has nothing to do with money, but it has everything to do with first come first serve. Continental breakfast, and I believe, I'm not entirely sure exactly where this is happening, but let me just double check real quick. And let's see, Montana Tech Tour is going to be at various locations. It's a conference. I think the first one is, let's see. Oh, you're going to have to go to their website, unfortunately. It's at invite.com. Missoula Tech Tour. Here's the nice little website where you can see various locations, and it's going to be going on throughout the whole entire time. Yeah, so here's the nice little synopsis. It's a crazy website. It's if you go to invite.com, RJ Tech Tour, and that's pretty much it. So I'm going to kind of like bow out of that one completely. So moving on, the next event that I want to talk about is using QuickBooks Online. Dickinson Lifelong Learning Center is QuickBooks Online is the cloud version of QuickBooks. This version is a distinct product from the desktop version of QuickBooks and has many features that work differently than they do in desktop versions. They'll discuss importing data and setting up your company, identifying best practices, and navigating QuickBooks Online, create an estimate, invoice, receive payment, create a bill and pay a bill, create a check, use the Banking Center, learn to benefit of reporting, and use QuickBooks Online reporting, understanding QuickBooks payments, online invoices. So this is a way just to collect data on using QuickBooks, and it's all about helping you help yourself when it comes to starting your own business in terms of numbers and money-wise. You got a shuttle to the Garden of 1,000 Buddhas happening this morning at 10 a.m. Montana Adventure Shuttles is teleporting people to Arlee, Montana. You can join them at Adventure Shuttle for an enjoyable 3-hour trip of peaceful exploration at the time of beautiful Arlee, and there are up to 10 seats available. And you go to Montana Adventure Shuttle and be there by 10 a.m. and you can go join them. So it looks like it doesn't cost any money. And there's up to 10 available suites, and I think it's first come, first serve. Kids Table at the Missoula Public Library. Missoula Food Bank sponsored this, and I wanted to say thanks to Missoula Food Bank officially. They're going to be sponsoring MCAT summer camps for the last 3 summer camps that we're going to be doing, which include our 2 animation camps and our crowning achievement, our zombie camp, which will happen at the end of July, which is basically July 31st through August 4th. Kids Table at the library hosts kids who are age of 18 and under to the large meeting room, and the lunch begins at 11:30 and is followed by an activity. And you can call the children's desk at 721-BOOK or 721-2665 for more information about Kids Table at the library. Free lunch for your kids 18 and under. Out to Lunch is happening from 11 to 2 p.m., so you guys can go check that out. It's going to be at Karis Park. There you have live music, a lot of vendors, and just all sorts of wonderful things there happening, including a kids event for your kids. Grizz on Tap, Missoula Alumni Happy Hour is going to be at 4:30 at Missoula Brewing Company, and you can join fellow University of Montana alumni and friends once a month to raise a glass at various Missoula Tap Room. Grizz on Tap is a chance to enjoy lively conversation with fellow Grizz grads in an area while sipping on tasty local brews. So this will happen from 4:30 p.m. until closing hours at the tap room. It's going to be at Missoula Brewing Company. You got Celebrity Night at Missoula, Fort Missoula Regional Park Pavilion. One of my favorite words, pavilion. The Celebrity Night Missoula, its Destination Missoula Sports Commission, is hosting the 2nd annual benefit that brings our local heroes home for a one-filled, family-friendly night at the new Fort Missoula Regional Park. Not only will you and your kids have the opportunity for autographs with the celebs, you will also actually get to meet them personally and mingle through the night. And you have a sports clinic at 5:30 p.m., a punt, kick, pass competition at 6:30 p.m., a celebrity autograph starting at 7:30 p.m., and all proceeds from the event go towards Destination Missoula Sports Commission Hospitality Fund. That's a long name. But if you don't want to do that, Bob Ross Night is going to be at Zootown Arts Community Center. You guys watch old Bob Ross episodes or wear a Bob Ross wig, and you get to paint along with Bob Ross, which I heard he usually has about 10 paintings. He practices 9 paintings before he does his 10th painting, which is televised for your enjoyment. Here are some of your late night events happening for Missoula on your Wednesday night. You got your, let's see, country dance lessons with Kathy Clark at the Sunrise Saloon. Michael Lonnie, Believer Live in concert at the MCT Center for Performing Arts at 7:30. Missoula City Band Summer Band Concert Series is tonight at 8 p.m. Starts at 8 p.m. sharp at Bonner Park Band Shell, and I'll have Gary Gillette on this Friday to talk about the 4th of July celebration concerts along with the additional concerts. So Missoula City Band is going to have a busy week next week, but I'll have Gary Gillette, who is the conductor of the Missoula City Band, on Friday. So I look forward to that, and show your kids. He's quite a character. Then you got all the karaoke. Eagles Lodge has karaoke at the Badlander. You got country karaoke at the Sunrise Saloon, and then you got karaoke at VFW. So there's 4 different venues where you can do some karaoke stuff. VFW usually does the heavy metal stuff. karaoke at the Sunrise Saloon is mostly country music. A lot of people do. And then, of course, Badlander is all about that top 40s karaoke as well. So here are some of your Thursday events. Starting Thursday morning, Tiny Tales of the Missoula Public Library at 10:30 a.m. And this is from birth to 3 years of age. And this is a unique program used every Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday at 10:30 a.m. And there's babies, kids, children, and adult must be with their kid. Well, they slowly teach kids to learn to read. A lot of times they kind of split up into their own groups, kind of show kids what are good books for kids to start out reading at a certain age. And they get to learn so many different words. And this is just going to be great. There's potato stamps at the Family's First Children's Museum at 11 a.m. Join the first stamp with a twist from the produce department. Spectrum Discovery Center is doing synthetic bio. This is an area for visitors of all ages to explore science through engaging exhibits and activities. Their new location is at 812 Toole Avenue. It's going to be very fun, and it's usually $3.50 for anyone 4 and over. If you're under 3, you get in free. I think they just said that so it could rhyme. NAMI Connection Support Group, a free weekly support group for adults living with persistent mental health issues, and it's going to be at NAMI Missoula at 1:30 tomorrow afternoon. They usually do it every week, so you can always get there at any time you feel as though you need to get there. Ropes course, Open Climb of McCormick Park does a open slackline ropes course from 5 to 8 p.m. every Thursday throughout the summer. They have $5 suggested donation, but they will not turn you away if you don't have that. The next thing is another big thing happening at the Thomas Mar Bar on Thursday night is at 5 p.m. They're doing a Missoula Boaters Bash. You can join the Clark Fork Coalition, American Rivers, and the Missoula Montana Chapter of Backcountry Hunters and Anglers for the biggest river celebration of the summer. They'll have free music provided by Reverend Slankley, who will be playing all of your favorite funky jams. Outdoor food and beverage service will be provided. So it's going to be kind of like a block party just outside Thomas Mar Bar, yard games, and there'll be all sorts of stacked river raffles, full prizes, Yeti, NRS, Orvis, and many others. And it starts, and then of course, you can also bounce from there to the Caras Park, because Downtown Tonight is happening Thursday night from 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. Joan Zen will be playing, and they have a beer gardens as well. So they have a lot of things happening for your Thursday night, but here are some of your other Thursday night music events happening. You got Sturfixer. Yeah, but it's a okay. So here's the thing. It's kind of like a DJ or something. It's like music rock. It's gonna be at the Top Hat Lounge. I don't know if they just kind of did this with whatever, but that's basically it. Wait, no, stop, no, wait. I messed up. My bad. Hold on a second. No, stop. There we go. Whew. Man, I totally messed up on that one. Lori, I hope you didn't switch me off, because that would be really awkward. Sorry, I just messed it up completely. Okay, moving on. You got Honeycomb at Monk's at 9 p.m., and then you got Rockin' Karaoke at the Dark Horse, and you got some more karaoke at VFW. So a lot of things happening for that night as well. Let's see. Oh, guess it won't let me switch off from one thing to another. So yeah, that's pretty much it for my morning show. Thanks for joining me. That was a really rough ending. I'm sorry. I gotta apologize. It was really weird. But I want to thank all my guests for being on the show. I want to thank Travis Welsh from the Missoula City Police Department, Dax Frazier from the Missoula City Fire Department. My bad. I'm trying to think before I speak too much. And of course, Travis Mateer from Missoula Agent Service, talking about their help hotline, which once again, here are some of the numbers. It's 541-HELP for the Missoula Agent Services. But also, if you have any complaints about your neighbors who are illegally firing off fireworks or doing that kind of thing, you can call the hotline for fireworks at 258-4850. Again, that's 258-4850. We got a lot of fun things happening this week. Raptors of the Rocky Camp Week is happening this week. We're going to Kate Davis's Raptors of the Rocky. We're one of the only few kids programs that can actually go to her ranch and enjoy some education with some of the birds of prey that come from in and around the world. So there's all sorts of areas where these birds come from, Canada, Northern Rockies, but also some desert birds as well. We'll have another live cut-in for your Thursday night at 4:45 to 5, and then we have our big show Friday, 5 p.m. on Channel 189. So I look forward to that, and I'll talk a little bit more about it on Friday. There's no Flagship Friday this Friday, but I will have a MCAT summer video for you guys, which highlights all the kids' summer videos that are made this year. So when we usually transition from Flagship Fridays to MCAT summers, this will be the week where we kick off our premiere of the MCAT summer kids video series. So I look forward to that. And for Wake Up Missoula, I'm Scott Raff, and I'll see you guys Friday.